Rami, we talked a lot about the potential for foreign powers, even regional powers, to stop protest and to repress protest. But we haven't really talked about the possibility of regional or international powers instigating protest. And can you talk a little bit about where you see that balance? Do you see protest movements that are being instigated from outside? Do they get regional traction? That reverse dynamic would be interesting to hear about as well.
What's happening broadly across the Arab region is that the centralized, tightly controlled state, the government, that had effectively run these countries reasonably well for about 60, 70 years, and most people's lives were improving from the 1920s till the 1980s. Um, those tightly controlled, centralized governments started to fray at the edges, and their societies started to fray at the edges. They started to corrode from inside because of poverty, because of corruption, because social services were deteriorating. So citizens who were very loyal to the state because the state gave them education, gave them jobs, gave them direct flights to European capitals on their own national airline, those things started to fall apart. And therefore, the cohesion of the centralized state started to fragment and fall apart. And that created openings and vacuums in society where foreign forces, ideological forces, religious, sectarian, political, whatever, they could come in and manipulate people. Now, there was always some foreign intervention in these Arab countries for decades, but it was usually very limited. The Saudis helped the Sunnis in Lebanon, and somebody helped the Christians. The French would help the Christians, and somebody would help the Druze and the Shiites. And there was a little bit of that from before, but in the last 20 years, the floodgates have opened, and it became the Arab countries became open fields for any foreign intervention, military, social, economic. So you have in southern Iraq, they're using Iranian currency. In northern Syria, they're using Turkish currency. So you have these physical symbols of foreign penetration, and then you've got foreign groups helping create militias, including the United States created militias in northern Syria, and the Turks and the Iranians, the Saudis, the Israelis tried it in Lebanon years ago. So you've got everybody and his or her brother coming in to help create militias, fund the existing groups, give money to people. And this is a trend that's increasing, unfortunately.